What is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 10 1 month later experience video. Now, along the edges here, I do want to mention that just in 1 month using this, I do have some nicks around it. You can't see it here on camera, but they're actually all over the stainless steel. So yes, if you were asking the question, does that stainless steel scratch like the old iPod touches? Yes, not as violently as that did, but still does. Now, the glass also has a couple of nicks, which again you cannot see here. Now, I am happy to report that rear camera hump, while it is thick, it is very durable. So this did not scratch at all, and I do like it in terms of durability. Now, I do like the power button as well, how it did get bigger. I found in over my month of using this thing that it was very easy to press that button. So while some said they didn't need to do that, make it bigger, it did help. Now, I did enjoy how the screen came pretty much all the way down to the bottom of the design. I think that's great design here by Apple. And at the bottom, you do see some really great audio that comes out that bottom speaker. But I do want to mention that right by that lightning port, that's easy to scratch up around there as well if you are jamming your lightning port into there when you're sleeping or half awake and things like that. But overall, it's a balanced phone. It's about 173 grams here in terms of the weight. So I think that overall, it was a really nice balance of weight and premium feel over my past month using it. It was very pocketable, so it felt very nice to slip in a pocket. It felt very similar to, I would say, an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 7, but just slightly heavier and just a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more premium feeling. Now, in terms of slipperiness, I didn't find it to be that slippery due to the glass being very grippy. Now, the glass is very fragile, so if you do drop this glass, which does support wireless charging, you will crack this phone, and it's going to be a pretty penny to fix. So I would still definitely rock a case on this phone. Speaking about the display, I don't want to talk too much about it. It is a Samsung manufactured OLED panel, and again, since I bought this phone on launch day, I really didn't appreciate the notch at first, but I'm trying to forget about it. And as a matter of fact, I have been kind of forgetting about it, and I'm just starting to come to appreciate the quality of this display. It's the best I've ever seen on an iPhone, and I think that you will enjoy it too once you can kind of get used to and get kind of over that notch. Now, some people probably won't, but I'm starting to just forget about it because I really have no choice but to forget about it. Now, in terms of the software here, we're running iOS 11.2. I do have to update to 11.2.1 on the 10. But since 11.2, there has been no hangs, no crashes, no glitches. I had a couple with the iPhone 10 when it first launched, but since these few software updates, it's starting to work out the kinks. It's getting much smoother and much more stable. So iOS 11 is coming along pretty good now. I wish it was a little bit better at launch, but it's okay, and we got some pretty nice software here on the 10. Now, you might be wondering, how does Face ID work in your past month? Have you been having issues with it? In good lighting, like you see here, it's absolutely 100% accurate. If you look at it a certain way, sometimes it won't, open, or if you look at it, when you're sleeping half awake, it won't open, but overall it's okay. The dual cameras on the rear are 12 megapixels. We do have a telephoto lens as well as just a single really sharp lens here on the camera. And on the front, we have a 7 megapixel sensor, similar to the one on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 8. These cameras are some of the best you can get on a phone this year. So of all the phones this year, I think the Pixel being number one, this is the second best camera on a phone. The reason I gave it to the Pixel is because the HDR processing is just a little bit better to me than what the iPhone 10 gives you. But the 10 is an amazing camera overall with all its functionality, portrait modes, contour lighting and all that stuff. It's really good. I still wish that Apple would just throw some easy to set up settings in the camera user interface though, because there's some things that are missing, like the ability to change your video or the ability to change aspect ratios. Like, I want to be able to do that in my settings here, but I did download Manual Camera 2, which is an excellent app for doing all of that stuff really easily, like I would kind of like Apple to do with their stock app. So if you're looking for something like that, just download the Manual Camera app. I'll link it down below in the description. However, locating those amazing new video modes, the 60 frames per second and 4K, I did have to go dig around settings, and I think the mainstream consumer or the average consumer is really going to be, not really knowing where this is. They're going to have to do a Google search to figure out how do I set up that new feature, and that's why I say Apple should just put it in the camera settings itself. But overall, the camera is stellar, and for the money you're paying, you're pretty much getting what you pay for here with this camera. It's phenomenal. Now, the power button over my past month has activated Siri a little bit more than I would like because they moved Siri from a home button to the power button. So this sometimes happens, and sometimes I accidentally tapped a screenshot with those two buttons that they now do with the, the screenshot with the volume down and power button. And also turning this off was a learning curve, but I have since gotten used to it. Now in terms of the battery life with the iPhone 10, let's just put it this way, it's not going to blow anybody away. The thing's going to get you through the day. If you want to know raw numbers, I'm getting about 6 hours of on-screen time, sometimes in the 5s, and the standby time is phenomenal as always with all iPhones. But this one didn't beat the 8 Plus, which was shocking because it's more money than the 8 Plus, and it has around the same size, battery size, as the 8 Plus. Now the OLED screen might be the culprit here, not as well optimized probably yet for iPhone as the LCD, who knows, but for $1,000, this battery life was just average in my experience overall. Now, the iPhone 10's audio, on the other hand, is not average, with a very clear and punchy, rich sounding speaker coming from both of these speakers. Hands down, one of the best on a smartphone all year, probably the Razer phone being #1. Now, in terms of just watching pure videos, or if you're just listening to some music, no matter what you're doing, if it's externally, you're gonna really love the iPhone 10 speakers, like I say, but no headphone jack here, so that can be a problem for some. Now, the call quality, nothing to write home about. I wasn't like, oh my god, amazing call quality, but I did like it better than prior iPhones. I never thought iPhones were the best at call quality, but this one has a better earpiece than prior editions, so it's solid. A solid 8 out of 10 in my book. So overall, what is my final experience? What is my final take after 1 month? You can see it's an overwhelmingly positive experience, probably as expected. The rear cameras have been one of the standout features for me using this phone over the past month. I just really think that if you don't have the money to buy a point and shoot, but you're just going to invest everything into a phone, this is definitely a phone you want to take a look at here. Now, the iPhone 10 also annoyed me with the notch at first, but I'm starting to get over it. Seriously, I am. I know it might sound like I'm being petty here, keep talking about the notch, but I'm getting over it. It's just something that bugged me at first. I was used to bezel displays. Now, the iPhone 10 here's app quality could be phenomenal when all the developers start getting it updated. Now, the app quality itself is still better than Android apps, but still they're not complete like they are on these smaller phones. You can see it just doesn't stretch on every app. Now, a lot of the big players have been getting their apps updated. In about a year or so, I think everybody will pretty much be updated, but until then, it's still an incomplete experience. So overall, would I buy this phone again? And the answer is yes, because I think it gives you a really well-rounded package. It feels nice in the hand, the design is beautiful. I think that the notch can be going away in the future. I don't want to see that in future iPhones. I hope that goes away. But overall, it's a fantastic phone. If you found this helpful, thumbs up down below. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.